Hi, Rachel. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. I'm so excited to have you here. Rachel is a baker in Utah, and she's going to be talking to us today about local networking.
Awesome. It's so fun to be here. Like she said, I'm Rachel Smith. I am from Cakes by Rach. I got asked to speak on networking, connecting with those around you. But first, I wanted to introduce myself briefly, kind of give you a rundown on who I am. I'm Cakes by Rach. There's my Instagram, my logo, but really Cakes by Rach is run by me and my husband, and he's the one in that photo. Me and Josh started this up it's almost 4 years ago. I know that exactly because the first cake I ever made was my daughter's first birthday cake, and she turns 5 on July 18th. And so that means Cakes by Rach was born almost 4 years ago, which is crazy. It started off with me really struggling with postpartum depression and anxiety, and I needed something for myself. And I know that story is so common with a lot of us. I just needed something for me that helped me use my brain in a different way because my sweet little baby wasn't talking back to me. So I made her first birthday cake after a lot of pushing from my husband and fell in love with the process of it. I don't love baking. I actually hate buttercream, but I grew up in a family that baked and just was incredible at it. Everyone calls us the food snobs because we like good food. And so that's how I learned, fell in love with it, and slowly started just doing it for fun. I just did an Instagram, the same Instagram I still have, and I slowly started posting things. And slowly friends started asking me to do things, more friends started asking me to do things. And I remember my husband asking me, hey, what is your goal? What would be like if my life tends to run by fear a little bit. So I tend to not dream. And he's like, if you could dream of anything, what would it be? And I told him if one person would buy a cake from me, that would be it. And now fast forward 4 years and we were doing 7 to 8 orders. We've tried to cut back a little bit recently so I can focus more on my children, but we were having about 7 to 8 consistently orders come in. And now I am on the preferred vendors list of these vendors here, wedding vendors. And so I do a lot of their wedding cakes. I do a lot of these speaking opportunities. And I just never imagined this could happen. But it's because of the networking, it came forth. Like, it just is crazy. I think about what happened and really what made the difference, and it was because of the people. It wasn't me. I do the same thing. I literally post one cake like every other day now on my Instagram, and that's all I've done as far as advertising goes. But it's the network that I have been able to create and that people have allowed me into, that's really helped my business grow. So I tried to really think about, okay, what do I do? What are the things that have impacted my business? And this is what I came up with, the 3 points. The first one is developing confidence in you, identifying your target market, and seeing your CEOs as humans and friends instead of just owner of a business or a high and mighty Instagram person. So I wanted to kind of break up each one, starting with the developing confidence in you. There's something called imposter syndrome that I have found keeps me from connecting with those that I need to, or those who can bring me business, because I don't believe that I belong there. I don't believe that the work I've put in is worth selling or connecting with or advertising. And imposter syndrome is a big part of why we can't grow our businesses and why we tend to not connect with people, is because we're too afraid to approach them and talk to them and really connect with them as human to human, as friend to friend, baker to baker, whatever it is. So it's getting rid of that imposter syndrome that I have found really helps me connect and build a network of people. How do we do that? Building confidence. So I hope that you guys are able to get the handout. I don't know if Emily's already sent it out or not, but I made these for you guys and I have it here next to me. And what I want you guys to do is really actually, while I'm talking or whatnot, work through it with me, because this is going to do you nothing if you don't actually take action. So the first one on here, the first question I have is, who are you as a business owner and what do you have to offer to this world? Why I ask that is the best thing for me. When I had to sit down and like think, okay, who am I? Who do I want to be in this world? What do I have to offer? Identifying that, all of a sudden got rid of that imposter syndrome, because now all of a sudden I know my purpose. I know what I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. And I can have confidence in that because now I have like a theme. I have a motto to my business. And I have power in that. So that's the first one. And if you guys want to type in your answers in there in the chat, I would love to see them, hear them. But who are you and what do you have to offer this world? The next one on here is don't let fear stop you from dreaming big. Fear, oh guys, fear runs my life. It is so hard for me not to like hush the fear and just run with confidence. It's funny, I'm a really outgoing person. I love people, I love connecting, but when I get put in a room full of vendors, it's like I just hide in my little shell and I'm too nervous to interact with anyone, which is so funny because I'm so afraid of being shut down or being told that I'm not good enough or that my creations aren't worthy of people's acceptance and love, or money even. And it's when I let that fear shut up, when I tell it to be quiet and I let that imposter syndrome go and I remember who I am and that I belong and that I'm important, then the relationships start growing and I start connecting with the people I need to connect with. And then my business just blows up every single time I choose to do that. In the last slide or 2 slides ago, that picture of my husband and I, that was at a wedding venue called Walker Farms here in Utah. It's one of the biggest ones here. I love them so much, but they do a bridal fair. And Stephanie, she reached out to me and just asked if I wanted to come. Now I had only been doing cakes for a year, so I was terrified to be part of a bridal show. And I remember having to sit at the table with all of my cakes displayed and all my cupcakes to give out to everyone. And I had to sell myself. And bless my husband, he was so good at it. He just went out and was just like telling everyone. I think it's easier for him because it's not him, but here I was just like crippling with fear of talking to people. But when I finally got into the groove of things and started doing it, I started finding a lot of joy because I was connecting with humans, connecting with people. And then I was sharing what I love. We love what we do. That's why we do it. So why aren't we sharing that in a passionate way? So that was a really neat experience. Go like 2 weeks later, and all of a sudden I'm getting 12, 15 wedding cakes booked. And it was because I didn't stand behind my table and just be afraid. I stood out in front of the table and I started talking and connecting, and people saw me as human, and people saw me as their friend and their advocate and their supporter and cheerleader. And then they asked me to do it, and there went my business. So it's because of the fear that I let go that my business grew. So what are some things that we can do? Power statements. This is point number 2 right here. Boop, boop. That hopefully you guys get or have. But what are your power statements? I have to think of these when I'm in that moment where I'm afraid that I'm about to go talk to someone. I'm trying to connect. What are my power statements? I put a few on there as an example, but my product is worth sharing. My business is unique, interesting, and has so much to offer to the world. And my talent is unique and wanted. So those run through my mind when I'm starting to get afraid of connecting with someone. So I want you guys to write down 3 of those, share them if you want, but really, what are those? What are those things that are going to pump you up, like that pump up song you have at the gym? What are those things that are going to give you the confidence to keep asking and keep talking? The next one is your target market. This one's pretty simple once you break it down. So how I have it on here, combine who you are. So what we talked about, who are you as a business owner? The first step on this little worksheet we've got. You're combining that with who you want to be successful with. So combine who you are, your target market, plus target market to find success. Okay. So for me, I realized who I wanted to be as a baker was I love bougie things. Guys, I shouldn't admit that to everyone, but I love the fine things of life. I love good food. I love fancy parties. I love all those things. And I realized that's what gives me joy. And so I wanted to be connected with those people. I wanted to be in the top wedding venues here in Utah. I wanted to work with those high-end brides. I wanted to be in those high-end parties that people are willing to drop $150 for a birthday cake. And so I started realizing, okay, if that's who my target market is, the higher end people, what am I doing to connect and network with those people? And it was interesting. It was, of course, the venues, and we're going to get into that a little more, the actual vendors and how to connect with them. But it was also raising my pricing, developing confidence in myself, portraying that I was wanting that I was part of that, and then convincing them through my Instagram and my pricing that is who I wanted, that is who I am. And then they started coming to me naturally, which was really nice. But identifying that, I think, is huge for your success. So in your little worksheet right here, boop, boop, there is who is your ideal audience. So really defining who are you, who do you want to serve? Who are the CEOs of your market? So for me, the wedding vendors, I had to figure out who were those people that I needed to communicate with. And then why do they want you on their team? So I had to, again, dig deep, figure out my imposter syndrome, kick that out, and then say, okay, why would I belong in one of the top wedding venues here in Utah? What is it that I create that is worthy of them hiring me? And it came down to my flavors and my simple design. I don't do the big, huge, elaborate, extravagant wedding cakes that are stunning, but I do beautiful, simple ones that shine through their simplicity and through their floral arrangements that I also do. So that's my second one. And my third one is seeing the CEOs as friends. This is the biggest tip. If you get anything from anything that I say today, it's this: see your CEOs as friends. So who are your CEOs? For me, it was the wedding vendors, managers, the employees, the brides, the grooms, the moms, the whoever it is, whoever's in charge. They are our friends. They are not just CEOs. They are human just like we are. And that is how we should treat them. They are more than a sale. It is, and then I put in here little bullets on that. It is about creating relationships, not just a sale. You want to go into those venues and see those managers as human and connect with them on a human level. Not, hey, here's my cake. Can I be on your preferred vendor list? But hey, this is an amazing venue. It is beautiful. What did you do to make this stand out so much? Or how you guys run this this business is so smooth. I really appreciate it. When I walk in, you're just ready for me. Like, giving them those compliments on their business, on their baby that they love, builds them up and makes them more responsive to you, but it also takes down their walls in a way and makes them see you as human and want to be with you, because now all of a sudden you've made that connection, which leads to the next one: connect as friends. Connect as a human, friend, and a family member. I think that's why my business grew so quickly, was because of my friends. It was the people down in Spanish Fork who live 45 minutes away from me, guys. They live far, but they were the ones who started up my business. It was the people I lived in Arizona who literally lived states away from me, but were sharing my business because they saw me as their friend and I as their friend. Like, we were family. And so they supported and helped grow my business by sharing it with people. And that's the same as the big wedding vendors, the Instagram influencers, all those kinds of people. Being open, that's a big one. Sharing with them your successes, your failures, what you're struggling with, what you want. I did an interview, and you guys will have access to this, and hopefully we'll have a little bit, I don't think I talked too much, but time to go through what they've said. But two of the managers at these venues, they said being open with them is a big thing. Sharing your success and your growth and your eyes, just making them see you as human, is so beneficial, because now you're part of a team instead of you asking for help. Now you're helping each other. Be part of each other's team, which I'm doing great. I'm just leading right into but be part of each other's team. Let them be part of your team and you be part of theirs. Again, like I was saying, just share the load. We're all in this together. And once we see each other as cheerleaders and as supporters, we're not going to just like, sorry, you're failing. It's like, oh, how can I help you? How can I get you more business? What can I do? And then as long as you give that in return, now all of a sudden you're both growing and flourishing, and you're going to find so much success and so many people who want to be on your side. Building them up is a big one. I mean, who doesn't like a compliment? when people walk up to you, I mean, even at the grocery store, when they like come up to me like, your girls are so cute. Or the other day I was at the gym and this old lady came up to me and just looked at me. She said, you're so beautiful. I was like, oh, I love you. Can I be your friend? Like compliments, sincere compliments ties you to someone like nothing else. And so why aren't we more willing to give those if that is what is making human connection? So give them compliments when you walk in, even when it's a mother of a bride. I always try and say, and it's true, I'm not making this up, you are an incredible mother for doing this for your daughter. I did not realize when my mom planned my whole wedding, how stressful it would have been for her, but how much she saved me because I was in the middle of a school semester. I had no time to plan my wedding, so she did it. And I did not treat her with the gratitude I should have. So I always try and tell these sweet moms, like, you are an incredible mother for planning this. Thank you for taking the time to make this such a special event for your daughter or son. Just getting that human connection, those human compliments really bring you together, builds each other up, and then trust is formed. The last one is treat them with respect. This is a big one. Time, kindness, making appointments, being professional. Like we have to understand that even though they are hiring us as help, they're hiring us. Like that is also something we should be grateful for. It's a two-way street. They're our customers. And so instead of us putting ourselves on a pedestal, why aren't we putting both of us on pedestals? I feel like sometimes vendors can get a little, I don't know what the word is, but we can like think of ourselves as more than our customers, and like we deserve more, which we do. And we do deserve respect. I am a huge advocate for that, but at the same time, they deserve respect. And so we should give that to them as well. So what's your plan? On the bottom of your worksheet, Googling. I think after you figure out who you are, after you figure out who your target market is, now you got to connect with the people. So Google the top wedding vendors or whoever it is that you guys work with. I know we're all not cakers. So, or identifying those people you want to connect with and then making a plan and going for it is a powerful tool that will help you actually achieve these kind of things. So I know I have a few minutes left, so we'll do the Q&A. I wanted to go through, let me get out of this real briefly. Hopefully you guys will have access. I told Emily to send this all with you, but this is a document that has two managers that I interviewed from two of the biggest venues here in Utah. And I went in and I just asked them like some simple questions. As a venue manager, what stands out to you when it comes to baking vendors? And to summarize, Stephanie from Walker Farms, she says, taking the time to practice and educating themselves. And then Kelsey said, to be personable, take care of my clients, the same amount of love that they are getting from me. Another one, what are things that you look for when it comes to a baking vendor? And Stephanie said, beautiful food, not only visually, but an aroma to the taste. Riverbridge, professional website. I thought that was a really powerful one because I did not have one until about 6 months ago. Professional website, having a good portfolio on Instagram that showcases variety of styles and types and skills and flavors. Third, what makes you want to partner up with a vendor and recommend them to your clients? Steph said, hearing back from previous clients that the process of choosing the vendor was positive. Vendor met or exceed expectations. So these people talk to the brides, to the grooms, to their clients. And so you want to make sure all of the communication, everything is going smoothly. Kelsey said, reliability is huge for me. Take care of them. What makes a good vendor in your eyes? Flexible, communicates, enjoys what they do. Kindness is everything. They engage with our business. They speak kindly. They refer people to you. That is something I always try and do when I go to a vendor or I post a wedding cake. I always try and tag the vendor in it and then highlight how wonderful they are, because then they tend to share those posts on their Instagram. And now all of a sudden my business is everywhere on theirs as well. What are some things that you dislike when vendors come trying to network? This was interesting to me. They bluntly ask, how do I get on your preferred list? She said, not a good pickup line. I think it's really making those connections that she loves, And then Kelsey said, being transparent, not prefacing your intent for visiting. So I think there's a balance there, not like going up and just saying, hey, I want to be on your preferred vendor list, but also being transparent and saying, hey, I want to connect. How can we help each other? What can we do for each other? Next one, how can a baking vendor benefit your business? She said, creating a partnership built on trust and sharing our page on Instagram, commenting, engaging. Overall, what's the advice? Don't be afraid to reach out. Be patient, provide your social media websites because it takes them a long time to connect with people. Dropping off samples of your work never hurts. But truthfully, the proof is in the pudding. Maybe you're all too young for saying that, which I'm too young. I didn't get that, but I thought that was funny. And then Riverbridge said, be genuine, transparent, and be willing to share business on your page. So that's kind of a quick overview of what they said, but again, you guys should have access to that. Read through it. I think it is gold to really help us see what people want when it comes to networking, how to build that. But yeah, that's it.
But we do have a couple questions.
Great.
When let's say you're an introvert, even you said like networking was like your worst nightmare. Like you did not want to go out and network. How do you get over being nervous? How do you get over that?
I think it's what I said, figure out who you are, figure out why are you important. I think our nervousness comes in when we don't feel confident in ourselves. That's what that's what I see in myself. When I'm not feeling confident, I'm nervous. And so what are those things that are making us not confident, identifying them and then attacking them? Finding resources to help us overcome those self-confidences, I think will really help us overcome that personally. And then now we have the confidence to actually connect with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes just doing it, I think it's scary. Like I was talking about the vendor, the bridal fair, I was scared, but when I finally made myself do it, then I started like getting in a role and I was like, oh, people are actually nice and don't hate me. And then I kept wanting to do it.
Yes, I feel like so much of people being scared or not starting things or wondering why something isn't working is because they haven't started. They think about it and they hype it up so much in their head when really it's just like, everybody has like that like little task that's been sitting at the bottom of their to-do list for 2 years that like would take 2 seconds to complete, and then you finally do it and you're like, why have I let this want me for 2 years? I feel like that's any of these.
Yep, I agree.
We've all got that task.
We all do.
So what are some ideas for places to meet those potential customers or business partners? Especially if you don't do weddings, do you have any other like, what if I sell fancy charcuterie boards for events? Like where should I be looking for customers?
I mean, that's a tricky one because again, this kind of fell in my lap. And so I kind of done this a little more organically, I would have to say. It's been a lot of my process, but something that I actually have a friend who's trying to do a charcuterie thing, and it is becoming who she is. And so as she connects with the people she already knows, she brings it up, she shares it on her personal page, like cakes or whatever you do. It's who you are. And so if we try and hide that, well, now no one's like picking up on it. It's interesting. I've been trying to start up a postpartum depression and anxiety resource for mothers and their significant other, whoever that is. And the moment I started talking about it, the moment opportunities started flowing in. And so the people around us, there are connections. I know LinkedIn, there's connections there. There are baking pages. There are our own social medias. Like the people around us, I think we take for granted. And when we tap into them and tap into those people that already love and support us, then it starts coming.
Yeah, that's great. LinkedIn is, I feel like, an underutilized resource, especially for food business owners. So great tip there. One last question before we wrap this up. I know we're at time. So when you're networking in person, you've got to like have your pitch down. Basically, like you need to like be sure and like have that confidence, and your worksheet will help people build those skills. But how do you recommend someone develops like their elevator pitch for their business?
It's hard because I tend to do the preparation and then I chuck it out the window when it comes down to it. Like I'll do all this worksheet or I'll do whatever in my own time, but then I just throw it out the window when it comes to it because you know what, I actually stand by that process because when you do the homework and when you're really preparing yourself, those things that you've brought to your mind are going to come forth when you're in that conversation. But I think if we come with like a written out, ready to say thing, it's not organic and people can tell. And so when we show up in front of someone, even though we're scared, have confidence. Okay, I did my homework, but now here I am. I'm going to have a conversation with a human. I'm going to talk heart to heart, person to person, and we are just going to chat. And then that takes away the pressure from you. Like, okay, did I not memorize it? Or it's like written on your arm or whatever, and it sweats off, you see in the movies. You don't have to do that. I'm here to chat. I'm here to like show you who I am, but I'm also here to help you. So let's get to know each other. Let's listen to each other and help each other grow. And then it's not this forced thing and you don't have to be nervous because it's just you chatting with another friend.
Yes, I think that what you said about like thinking about like you're on the same level as your customer, you're on the same level as these venues that you're approaching. Like it's all about being a good human, right? Just be kind, be respectful. I can't think of a better way to close things out. So
I'm so glad.
yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. This is incredibly valuable.